listening to the Seventh Inning Stretch right here on VSN. Now to your hosts, Logan Stone and Josh Edwards.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Seventh Inning Stretch. I will be your host, Josh Edwards, this evening, and we're going to have a full house of our lovely friends from the VSN Network. And joining us today will be Boston Tom. How are you, Boston Tom?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
I'm fantastic.
Are you pissed?
No, not at all. I'm so happy you're here, man. I've missed you.
I know. I haven't talked to you guys in a bit. Thank you very much for the invite to come and have a little conversation about something finally fucking good up here.
Well, I was going to say, it's been a big day for you up there in Boston, but let's give everybody the update. If y'all haven't heard, I know in the intro it says it's Logan Stone and Josh Edwards. Logan Stone has had some other opportunities and some very big things happen for him, so he has had to take a step back from his hosting duties here at the VSN. So the seventh inning stretch, if you've watched any of our other shows, is going to be a lot like Talking the Gridiron. I will be here as your guide through the episodes for the coming weeks and months, and we will have a variety of guests join us to talk about all baseball topics, everything MLB, all the time, once a week at least, if not twice a week. We're sorry for the short notice for this evening's episode, but with the news breaking today, we figured it'd be a good time to get on and talk to everybody. So tonight we're going to have Darren from Fat Boy Fade Away joining us. Jordan, my co-host from the Cardinals Chronicles, is joining us. Brandon Moore, who was just there and just disappeared, decided to pop in. We'll see if he comes back. He's from the Blues Notes from VSN. And Mr. Tom and Quincy, Boston Tom, is going to be here today. So, Boston Tom, since you're our honorary guest, how about you start and tell us about your big news and explain to us how all this happened with Mr. Rafael Devers?
Well, I mean, first of all, to be honest, I was totally fucking shocked by the whole thing. When I saw the arbitration agreement, I was like, big deal. You know, he was going to play here next year anyway. But I had commented a couple times with some of my buddies where I'm like, I don't want to see any, like, statement that doesn't come along with long-term extension. This means nothing to me. This arbitration thing means nothing to me. So to come to find out today they signed for $330 million or whatever, I was fucking shocked by it because I didn't think they were going to get on this road. The Sox have been all over the place about as far as, well, we don't want to go into double-digit year contracts, or we don't want to give these guys over this kind of, this kind of money and blah, blah, blah. And you've seen players leave based on that. So there's a couple things. One, I'm fucking ecstatic that he's here. That goes without saying. I'm fucking thrilled, right? But I feel that there has to be something else coming, because the team is not good, right? So Devers was going to be here no matter what this year. He was on the team last year. There needs to be something else to happen, because as much as I love the fact that they lined him up and they locked him up for a long time, 11 years gets him to 37-ish, which is, young nowadays. You got guys signing into their 40s. So I love the move. There's got to be another shoe to drop, though. And I'm hoping, and I'm not optimistic, but I'm hoping that they will trade some of these so-called precious prospects that I have been, groomed in my life to listen to about how good they're going to be, and they simply aren't. So I'm hoping that, you have teams like the Marlins, small market clubs that have young front of the rotation kids, aces. You could trade some of the position players that you covet so dearly and go get pitching, because that's what this team needs. So I think that as much as I love the deal, I mean, it's done and I love it. I hated the Bogarts walking out the door thing. Was gross. I think this is in some ways a reaction to that. I think that the way that John Henry was treated at Fenway the other day for the Winter Classic Bruins-Penguins game did not help his self-esteem at all. They ripped him to shreds from what I understand. I was not at that game. He got ripped to shreds, deservedly so. So I would like to think that when he left that game as the owner of the Pittsburgh Penguins, as they play at Fenway Park, that he went home and said, I got to fucking do something. I can't let this kid go. So as much as I love that it's done, and, I want more to happen, I will say the most discouraging thing to me, which I already plan on, which has already happened earlier before I get on with you guys, is I had to get into it with the Bloom supporters. And living up here and following the Red Sox for, I don't know, 40-something years at this point, right? This new the way people look at baseball is a lot different than the way that I grew up watching baseball. And the way that Bloom does business is far different than the way that guys like Dombrowski does business, where, you have this talent and you trade it to get legit guys like they did with Sale, which ended up being not as great, but they won a World Series with him. But these guys, every time I bitch and complain about the Sox not making a move, not keeping Bogaerts here, not doing this, not doing that, all I get, because I guess I'm wicked fucking old as a baseball person nowadays. So they tell me that, well, this isn't Bloom's fault. It's ownership's fault, which I understand. It's a money thing. And, Henry decides on where the big money goes and all that shit. I agree to a point. But my thing is, all right, if you've pissed all over me for saying that Bloom sucks and it's all ownership's fault, do not turn around today and tell me that Bloom got it done. You cannot do that. You have fucking told me every day that it's ownership's fault they didn't get this guy. It's ownership's fault they didn't get this guy. It's ownership's fault that Bogaerts left. It's ownership's fault. Then they fucking give Rafael Devers $330 million. And oh my God, Bloom locked him up. Go fuck yourself. You can't do that.
And this is why I love Boston Tom.
Dude,
I love this. How's he really feel? How's he really
all
feel?
of that.
You cannot do that. You can't tell me every decision that you didn't like, I mean, they supposedly did like, was ownership. And this biggest move the Sox have made since fucking Manny Ramirez, all Bloom. Fuck you. No. You can't do that. You have to say Henry finally got in Bloom's ear and they made this thing happen. I will give Bloom partial. And then I'm talking fucking 98 to 2% in this deal. You can't tell me that whole time that Bogaerts leaving was ownership's fault. You can't tell me any of that. You can't tell me that. And then come today and tell me that Bloom is the fucking balls and he got him locked up. That's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. I will not listen. I simply disagree 1,000,000%. That's where I'm at. And that's where a lot of Sox fans like me are at right now. I can't do it. I can't listen to you blow Bloom again. No on this one. Absolutely not. I will give you Whitlock is the only thing that I give Bloom. And that was a Rule 5 fucking lottery ticket. That's all I give him. That's how we are up here right now. But I'm very happy overall.
Are you happy?
Oh,
I can tell.
Yeah, believe it or not, I am.
Well, I think Devers signing. I think Devers was destined to sign with Boston. However, to go to a point that somebody in my fantasy group chat made, Shane, I think it was Shane or Pico, one of those two. But he said that if you guys would have signed him during the summer last year, you guys could have got him for cheaper probably.
Yes.
And then still would have been able to get Xander Bogaerts into a cheap contract like he was wanting. And so I feel like it was a good signing. However, after the season that he just had, because he's a top 4, top 5 third baseman in baseball, you guys paid a pretty heavy price for him. And there's a lot of things that you guys really need help with, like with what you said with the pitching. However, I do disagree with your take on the prospects, though. I feel like you guys did my boy Jeter Downs wrong.
Oh, dude, did you?
Yeah, I honestly think that, mainly because he has stuff to prove. He's still super young. I feel like you guys were very, very premature with that, unless there was some internal mess happening with the Sox organization.
There's a couple things with that. The first thing about if they could have signed him last year, they could have had both, right?
Right.
I
100%.
I agree with you 100% on that. And the worst part is that when they wouldn't sign Mookie, we were told as fans that, well, no, now we have the money to sign both. And then Bogaerts walks out. Nothing in return. Not that Bloom has shown that he can get anything in return anyway, but he walked out for nothing. So not only did you trade Mookie Betts and get a fucking horrendous return on it, no disrespect to Verdugo, I actually don't mind him. Everyone else in that was kind of like, all right, whatever. You should have got a far better haul than they did.
No, right. They
so
won the trade, 100%.
When you start getting to the point where you're telling fans that we didn't sign him because we can definitely keep these two, and then that one of the two walks, and then the other two, the other one, you lowball like you did with Lester and Mookie and Bogaerts. It's like, oh, there's a fucking trend here, So the fact that they locked him up today was great. Bogaerts you could have got for $160 million last summer. He signed for $280 somewhere else a year later. Your fault, Bloom, Henry. Blame whoever the fuck you want. He ain't here anymore. So when you start saying that to fans and then doing something polar opposite of what you say, that's when people get aggravated. Unless you just love Bloom because you're a fucking stat nerd and that's all you care about. So I am not one of them people. I didn't like the signing of Bloom when they brought him on, simply based on that. So I understand where the analytical mindset comes from, and I'm not saying that some of those stats that they have merit. They hold weight. You cannot build a big market team based on what the way that he is trying to build the Red Sox. You have to make splashes like they did today. It never should have got to it. They never should have got to it with Bogaerts. They never should have had to trade Mookie Betts. But they have one of the three locked up. So now use these so-called coveted prospects like a Jeter Downs. If he's so highly touted that you used him, you wanted him in return for Mookie Betts. The fact that you had to DFA him, to me, speaks about the evaluation of how Bloom looks at other teams and other prospects and other organizations. Because right now, all they have to show for Mookie is Verdugo and Wong. And that's simply, in my opinion, kind of gross. So Jeter Downs maybe down the road, maybe on a smaller market team, maybe on a team that doesn't have unlimited money, he can play younger and develop, and play more often than he would on a team like the Red Sox. That's all. I have no ill will towards Jeter Downs, but I didn't see where he was going to fit in here at all. That's all. So maybe they were just like, I don't know. Maybe they fucked it up. I guess.
Darren, I want to bring you in on this. So according to Ken Rosenthal, Devers' deal will be the 6th largest in Major League history by total value. His $30.09 million average annual value will be the 21st highest. It is the biggest contract negotiated by his agency, Rep One Sports. It's an 11-year, $331 million extension that begins in 2024, and the deal includes a $20 million signing bonus. Darren, is he worth the money? Is the contract a good contract? Do you think this is going to work out long term for the Red Sox? What do you think?
It's kind of an interesting. I've always told you with the Red Sox, they've kind of just have always confused me since the Betts thing. Like ever since then, I just don't. From as far, like I said, from out here West Coast, they've always been kind of, maybe they haven't won, but they've been to me, a model franchise in terms of like usually you homegrown your talent, you try to keep them at the best of your ability. I know they've made some mistakes along the way, but for the most part, they've always spent on their guys and tried to be active with free agents. Regarding Devers, I like him. I know last year was a down year. I think I've always thought with the Red Sox, if they got rid of Devers, that was going to be, to me, the ultimate sign that they're on just a complete decline in this franchise. I don't know what the hell they are anymore. Like, to me, by keeping Devers, they at least show some life in that regard. They still spent $330 million. I mean, I'm an A's fan. I can't even relate to that crap. So that, to me, that's still unreal to begin with there. And like you see that, it's just like I think we underrate the Red Sox every year sometimes because to me they have the greatest home field advantage too in terms of their park, and like they can develop hitters that sometimes we're just not aware of yet in the minor league system. The only thing that worries about me with them is the pitching depth. If they have an injury to like any of the two guys up top, you know what I mean, that kind of concerns me, especially if Sale. Like we just have history now of him being inconsistent every year in and year out. Obviously, when he's in, he's solid, but we'll never know we're going to get there with him. And then the rest of the guys on the staff, I'm, 50-50 on a little bit. Like, to me, they can be like, out here in the Bay Area, you see the Giants do it all the time, right? They get these guys that come on and have good years. I feel like that's what the Red Sox are making on again this year at the pitching staff level. So we'll see there. I do find it fascinating that they didn't sign Bogarts and those type of guys, but it seemed that the writing was on the wall last year. So you kind of saw it coming regardless, I feel like probably, but the prospect things is the big thing for me. The Red Sox used to churn those babies out all the time. They just haven't done that as much recently. I mean, they were always developing guys, and right now they're just not doing that. I feel like that's the biggest reason for their struggle because Devers right now would be a perfect fit if you had about 3 or 4 guys ready to go kind of in that bin up right now like they were expecting, I think. So that's what I think. But I do think it will work out in terms of him performing well. I don't see Devers playing bad. I think he might get traded in the deal.
It was funny that he has no trade clause. Like, that's weird for that. Like, because I saw Bogarts was 11 years with a no trade clause. There's not a no trade clause in Devers' deal. I don't know. They haven't announced about opt outs and stuff. But I mean, if they signed him 11 years straight up, that would be
probably an opt out.
That would
got to
be
be an
weird.
opt out.
There's got to be one. There's got to be one or two.
The Bryce Harper deal, I can't see that happening with Devers.
I don't either. Like I said, I'm still fucking in shock that it happened. So
do fans love? How were fans like? I'm curious with Red Sox fans. Like, you have that Devers Bogarts. Was there one that the fans liked a little bit more? Were you guys? I don't know. It didn't seem like the fans were like rioting over Bogarts not being there.
I think. Well, it depends. There's two types of fans nowadays. Like I wanted Bogarts. I hate that he left. But the younger group of fans that look at baseball a little different than me, they were okay with it. But they kept coming back to, well, who's giving them 11 years? I'm like, I was shocked by the 11 years. But if you could have got him 6 for 160 last summer, and you didn't, then, you put them out there, man. You let the guys hit the market. That's the numbers floating around. Those are the Trey Turners and the Bryce Hoppers and these Machados and all these guys, 11, 12, 13 years. If they weren't willing to go there and he's 30 years old, I understand that. To me, if you could have got him for the 6, 7 would have been a stretch. 8 was kind of like, there's no way they're going to do it. When someone gives him 11, he's gone. I mean, he's gone. It sucks that it got that far is what I'm aggravated about.
Was there a fan choice, though? If you had to put it like for you, who do you like better? Like, who's the better player, Devers or Bogarts?
Well, I think that you have to go with Devers because he's younger and he's left-handed.
Yeah.
But he also has subpar defense.
Bogarts is one of my favorite players that's ever come through this organization. He is a legit fucking pro baseball player, and you don't like to lose guys like that because, I mean, there's been guys that they go out and get, and they come to Boston and they simply don't perform here. And it can be for any number of reasons. It can
So
be.
why'd they let them go? Are they just cheap asses? What happened now? I mean, what happened? Like, I don't get it.
That's this. They contradict themselves all the time.
Yeah.
Where they didn't, like you kind of had just touched on. There used to be a method to their madness. Free agency, hot stove talk up here years back was fucking great. Them and the Yankees just went at it every year. But that's what the Padres and the Dodgers do now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I don't know if it's that ownership has backed off the loyalty aspect of the Sox because there's like 50 other fucking pages in their portfolio for the Fenway Sports Group that they did not have back in the early 2000s when they got this thing rolling. So, there's other interests. They got 4 World Series in the 20 years. All right, well, yeah, we can still kind of do this, but they kind of, to me anyway, looks like they abandoned the Red Sox in a way. And they kind of paid more attention to Liverpool, buying the fucking Penguins, all that shit. So I think with that changed their whole, let's go for this thing every season attitude. And we've ended up with the fucking 5 last place finishes in 11 years, which drives me up a fucking wall. So I'm happy to see players locked up, but there's so many holes on this team, and everyone has a hard time trying to figure out what direction they're going to go. So if all they did today was lock up Devers and keep the rest of the team roster as constructed, they're worse than last year. So
that's why they play the games.
Do you know what I'm saying, though? It's like, believe me, guys, I was on a little while ago with people, and this one guy told me that they're World Series contenders now. And I understand, and he's like, well, you're not a fucking true fan if you don't think that. I'm like, no, I think I am a true fan because I don't think that. No, they're fucking not. All right? There has to be drastic improvements in this team to be World Series contending. Like, they didn't win 80 games last year, and you don't have Bogarts anymore. You don't have JD Martinez anymore.
Don't have good pitching either. You guys could have got Evaldi back, and you guys didn't even try.
They could have signed Evaldi. They didn't. No, instead, they have Paxton, who hasn't pitched in 2 years. They have Sale, who can't stay healthy. Love the guy.
Last year was not his fault. He got hit with a line drive. That's not his fault.
It's the thing about this. He has these quirky things happen to him. It's not his fault. I love Sale. I want him to be Sale, believe me. But you got Sale, who knows? Paxton, who knows? Whitlock in the rotation, not as good as he is in the bullpen.
Absolute garbage in that team last year.
Bayo and who else now? Bayo is a rookie, and everyone's like, oh, but he's pitching with Pedro. So what? I love Pedro. He's a fucking positive influence on the kid for sure. Practice with Pedro Martinez. Yes, I'm all for that. You have no idea what this kid can do at the pro level yet. You can't depend on him. So if you can't depend on Sale, Bayo, Paxton, Whitlock, and whoever the fucking 5th guy is going to be, tell me how you're going to contend in the East. Never mind the World Series. I mean, they tell me I'm pessimistic. I say I'm realistic. I'm not pessimistic. Tell me how I get to the World Series with that rotation.
You're like the toughest division.
You guys won't even make the playoffs because you guys won't even get past the Orioles. Like
the Orioles will be the tough team.
The Orioles are about to blow everybody's mind this year. I can't wait to see it.
And the thing too, you know what it is when I
what
talk
is
to
it?
Logan, I talked to these guys a few times, and it's funny because you see when you talk to other people that aren't in the area you're in, right? You get the perspective of what around the country thinks of the teams you follow, right?
Yeah.
So when you see like Dev is signing that money, you're like, oh, it's good for the Sox for sure. And it is.
F you, that's what I'm thinking of.
Right? Right? You're like, good for the Sox, but I fucking hate them. Where I'm like, it's fantastic. Now what? You know? So I mean, I love talking to you guys that aren't here because the attitude and perspective towards the team is so different. And it's interesting to see it, you know. Trust me when I tell you, and I tried to tell that kid earlier, I'm like, you make it sound like I don't want them to be good, where it couldn't be farther from the truth. You know, it's like, no, I want every fucking decision they make to be a good one. However, lately, they aren't.
Justin Turner was a genius signing, you know. Man, blew everybody out of the park.
All right, so you don't sign Martinez because he's old, and it was $10
So
million.
you signed somebody else old.
So you signed someone 3 years older for fucking 3 times the money.
Your guys' organization.
They're so like all over the place.
That's
like,
what I mean. They don't make sense right now.
No,
I don't know why they're doing it.
Yeah,
if you tell me, they're like, listen, we're going to suck for like 5 years. We're not going to spend money. We're just going to suck. And we're going to deal with it. And we're going to dive to the bottom of the standings. And we're going to get some kid that's going to be this, that, or the other.
That's the thing. They used to be able to win and develop guys. They don't do that.
Right. They don't do that anymore. What they tell you now, what they tell you instead is like, oh my God, Xander Bogaerts is our first priority. We want Mookie Betts to be a Red Sox for life. You're fucking lying to my face because you do it. You do everything to fly in the face of what you're saying. If you were upfront and honest, I'd just be like, fine, we're going to suck. I'm going to hate it. But at least you fucking tell me. If you tell me you're doing all these things to make the team better and you do none of those things, then you kind of like, I'm not going to believe anything anymore. You're like the boy that cried wolf. Like, fucking enough. I'm like, oh, I've heard wolf a million times. I don't believe you. And that's where they're at up here. Well, I am.
So how do you feel about the management then at that point? Like,
well,
like,
I think
truthfully,
with ownership, like I said, I feel like they're not, the Sox just aren't the priority like they were years back.
They don't care. It
They don't
seems
give
like
the money is
no, they don't
rolling
get
out
it.
on
Spread
so
it
many
out.
different fucking things.
they get money. They're going to get sold out seat tickets every single game. So
because
it's just
I am a sucker and I will be there. I will be there again opening day, and I talk shit left and right. And I know going in, I'm like, I'm going to be so fucking mad seeing the lineup that they put out opening day. I'm still going to be there.
The passion.
Oh, of course. You have to
Because
be
I'm one of those
passionate, man.
guys that they go,
The Cardinals organization pisses me off on a daily basis,
but you're still there.
and I'm still gonna love them. Damn it!
I love
Sounds like
A's.
the Cardinals.
You can't
What's
cut
that?
And
bait.
the A's, yeah.
I'm too
Sounds
invested.
like the Cardinals and the A's.
I've put too much time into following them. I can't cut bait now.
And we sadly have an Oakland A's fan who's been through hell
And back.
and back, and then is about to go back to hell again.
Might go to Vegas again. That is hell, right? Both my teams might go to Vegas in less than 3 years. Yeah, that might happen.
That's
That's fun
rough.
for you. So, guys, there are a couple other things I wanted to cover tonight. I wanted to give Boston Town plenty of time to let us know and bring us all up to speed on Boston. So we got our Red Sox fix because I've been missing that. But
Thank you
earlier
for letting me
today,
vent.
no, I'm happy to do it, man. I've missed you. I haven't got to talk to you in 4 or 5 months. I wanted to give you due time. But so there's something that's really bothering me right now, and I was talking to our good friend Logan, and we were talking about way too early power rankings. And one power ranking came out for the teams, and I thought it was absolute BS. But I don't want to go over that one. I want to go over the power rankings that I saw today. These are the MLB front office power rankings, and here's what they got. And I want to hear you guys just as a whole or one by one, thumbs up, thumbs down to each one of these in order. So number 1, we have the Atlanta Braves. Yay or nay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Boston down.
Yeah, I say they're a good team. Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
they're one.
This is the office. This is just the office. Okay.
Oh, front
So then
office?
you have the
Yeah.
just front office. This is
Okay.
the front office power rankings.
Yeah.
Second, you have Dodgers.
Okay.
Third,
I'm
you
cool
have
with
the
it.
Guardians.
No. Well,
Okay.
I don't know.
We're gonna have a conversation. Just keep these in mind.
Yep.
Fourth is the Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays. Fifth is the St. Louis Cardinals, which I got something to say about that. Sixth is the New York Yankees.
Mm-mm.
Seventh is the Philadelphia Phillies. Eighth is the San Diego Padres. Ninth is the New York Mets. And 10th is the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, I'm going to start this one off by saying, who in the hell comes up with these lists this early in the preseason? One. Two, a monkey could have made a better list than this that was more accurate. And three, I want to know what kind of analytical BS they're using now in baseball to come up with a list that's this messed up. I mean, who looks at what has happened in the offseason and says that the Guardians, the Rays, and the Cardinals are in the top 5 of front office management ahead of
No.
the Phillies, the Padres, or the Mets?
No. Like
How does that
makes
happen?
no sense. Well, with the Guardians, I don't understand that one at all.
In anything.
and my friends, the Painter brothers, who are diehard Guardian fans, will probably disagree with me on this. That front office is not a top 10 front office. That's just they for one, they get J Ram, but then who else are they signing at that point? With that, they need to increase. They need to. I'm mixing up my words. Hang on. They need to make the relief corps better. They need to work on their rotation, and then they also need to get a better outfield. And they all that was available when it came down to this offseason. But I'm more of a stickler on the Guardians and the Cardinals being too high.
I actually don't mind the Guardians being that high. I think they are probably one of the better ran franchise. I think the one thing they lack is what the Brewers do. They don't finish off what they have, what they develop. Like they're like almost like, because like you said, there's like tiers to this. Like there's the Yankees. There's like they're the ultimate spenders, right? Then you have like your belows, like, or I guess you could throw the Dodgers up there too, and you have these guys right below it. And then you got like your Red Sox right now that have kind of been there, your Giants, and I feel like the Indians are way below that, right? But they're able to still win the division, a lot of the time with less players. And they develop their guys all the time. Like they consistently develop guys.
That is
true.
true.
I can't say the owner you can say is a cheap, but I think their front office is pretty good.
Yeah, I think I was going more on the spending aspect of it. Now that I think of it,
I mean, if they're gonna rate the front offices on spending, how the hell the Mets aren't one?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're like, that's why I think it's a combination of things. Like that's why the Rays are up there, right? It's not because their owners are like spending a lot of money. It's because their guys can put them in a position to succeed without the money. And I think you have to take that in consideration. But the Guardians, they actually have some they have like a Cy Young, right? A couple of years ago, we have right there. They've developed Ramirez, and they signed him, which was shocking to me when that happened. So I think they got to be up there. The Rays one though. That one's definitely in there too. The Mets is an interesting one to me. Is that a front office thing?
I think
he's like, I have more money than everyone else. I'm gonna go get whoever I want. Is what he
that's because he's a fan playing GM. He's doing the one thing we all wish we could do.
Yeah, exactly.
What this list does take into consideration, which Logan politely reminded me of, this list is also supposed to take in farm system development and everything else. As I saw somebody commented at the bottom of our screen there. So I can understand a couple of these teams in the top 10, but I just don't agree with the ordering of them. The Braves obviously are number one, the way they get deals done, the contracts that they get guys to sign, plus they have a great farm system and they developed. Now this goes back for me to the culture of the sport and where it's at. There is two different cultures in baseball right now. And if you guys disagree with me, please let me know. I'd love to have a little debate if it's warranted. You have teams that buy their team, and you have teams that develop their teams. Those teams that develop their organizations and have homegrown players, they always seem to be in the mix year in and year out. the teams that go out and buy their players and put their team together like it's a fantasy deal, they may be good in the regular season, or they may have a hot year or maybe 2 hot years, but then they fall apart and they trend down and they miss the playoffs 2 or 3 out of 4 or 5 seasons. That's the difference right now in Major League Baseball. It's the organizations that develop versus the organizations that buy. I think the only exception we can say to that is the LA Dodgers, because they continuously are in the playoffs and winning divisions, and they continuously buy their teams. They do have some homegrown talent, but let's be real, they spend nearly as much money as everybody else up until Steve Cohen and the Mets this offseason. Does anybody disagree with that theory?
Yeah, but the Dodgers are losing the playoffs. They never.
That was
they
what I was.
won-
They buy their team.
They won the COVID World Series, but haven't gone back since.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I feel the exact same way. They throw all the money out, and in the end, for the money they've spent in the rosters that they've put together, to only have the one, and it was the COVID year, hardcore underachiever.
I got to give it. I'm going to push back just a little to be different. I'm going to say that they have. I feel like they take a little hit because of now the last 2 years. But if you look back to like 8 years ago and where their like franchise was, and then the guys that they have developed in their system that they've brought up, I mean, I got to give them. That's kind of how I imagine like your team being there, Todd. Like they would bring up these talent, and then they have these next guys ready to go. And
Right,
I can't blame
won.
teams now for keeping them. I agree they haven't won. I agree that, but they're in the mix every freaking year. You can't blame them for that. And I think that list number one, it's got to be, yes, the trash can and all. It's the Astros, right? The last decade, they've been the best franchise in terms of that stuff. I mean, you guys can fight me on that, but it's the Astros the last.
The Astros are fire. They're ridiculous.
But the Astros had to go in the toilet for years and
For
pile
sure.
up number one picks. So
sure.
if the franchise decides to tank, which the Astros obviously did, and
The
it
Pirates
worked,
still do it every year, and they don't make it work.
they just don't win.
The Orioles made it
Well,
work.
that's why they're not in the top 10 list on the ownership or the front office.
You know?
list.
The Orioles have
I
made it
mean-
work though.
It's a miracle with the picks that the Orioles, with the places that the Orioles have been, especially in this division, as bad as they have been, a couple hundred lost years and all that, they should be better than they are. I mean, they're on their way up. I'm not saying that. They are getting better. But the Astros did it. Man, they ended up with Springer and Correa, and it just seemed like every year there was someone popping up. And the Astros haven't seemed to hit on as many as the guys that like the Astros did. I don't know if that's a front office thing or what. They change managers a lot, but I think that if you decide to tank it the way that the Astros did, and the team and the manager and the ownership is on board, then fucking hope that everything works out for you. And in this case, the Astros, it did. And in some teams that try, it just does not work. And they haven't won shit.
Most teams don't hit on their 1 and 2 picks like they have. One of them's trash once in a while.
Seriously.
Were they the one that drafted that lefty, though? He was trash, right? Didn't they draft one lefty with the first pick that didn't turn out well?
There's always a few in there. Trust me when I tell you that. There's, the first round picks. I mean, there's been plenty of hyped first round picks coming through. Sox never really picked that high. I think Maya was the highest they had since the 60s. Some fucking stupid stat. But you hear about the overhype of the first round picks, and the majority of them that don't pan out is
for the Astros. It worked though.
The Astros are
Cardinals
good.
Number one.
Astros are good, man.
The Cardinals
Astros are good. And that kid what's his face? Was it Alvarez, the huge kid that plays first?
Yeah, but he's not even the best player.
He's awesome.
Jeremy Pena is about to be the best
Pena's
shortstop
awesome,
in
but
baseball.
I love that huge.
That man is a stud.
What about? He's unreal. They just keep churning him out. What do you guys think? You guys, 2 Cardinals here. I always say out here, they're like to me the model franchise. If I had them, I think you guys probably get pissed with them, maybe not going all out once in a while. But
yes,
they got to be top 5 though in consistency list, probably, right? They're always right there.
I would agree there. I'll let Jordan go first on this.
There's like the thing with the Cardinals is that yes, we are a good system overall. We have a good farm system. We homegrown our players very well. Jordan Walker's about to be a stud, hopefully. But when it comes down to fixing current needs, they usually like to wait, and it really pisses us fans off when there's glaring needs that are needed for our team. For example, when it came down to the shortstop market was fire. We didn't try for anybody. We just let them go. And when it came down to our pitching is ranked 21st preseason. That is fantastic. We're good with that, I guess. But like they just don't like to spend their money on talent that's already developed versus developing talent. I like the risk of just being like, you know what, this prospect, I'm not trading Jordan Walker. No, I'll trade Mason Wynn, for example, mainly because I'll trade Mason Wynn mainly because we can get somebody good out of him, but somebody that's already proven. That's all that they just don't have any effort when it comes down to improving the team that we need now to win a World Series. We like to wait and be patient, and it's aggravating.
You're
So-
always there. You're always there.
We haven't won
we are
since
always-
2011.
But we're always in the hunt. That's the point I think Darren's making. So I think the Cardinals ownership and Mo, I don't even like to call Mo a manager. He's just a talking head. The Cardinals, I think, screwed up so bad in the Ozuna trade, and they screwed up so bad with the Dexter Fowler signing that they said, and not to mention Rosarena, who we're still kind of seeing if Rosarena is really going to pan out to be what he showed that one playoff year or not. I know he had injuries this year and was inconsistent, but we traded away a couple of our top prospects to get proven, developed players, and it completely blew up in the Cardinals' faces. Obviously, Dexter Fowler was a free agent signing, but you went out and spent the big money to get him, and it just didn't work out. So I think the Cardinals' ownership and management is very much, you know what, we do develop players. Every time we trade a player away, they turn out being good. Zach Gallen's another one who's on the up right now, and he's going to be dangerous this year too. So I think that's why the Cardinals ownership and management is handling and looking at the future the way they are, because they know they develop as well as any other team in the MLB, and they are very budget conscious. I think they understand the market in St. Louis. The money that's made in St. Louis, the average income per household, what it takes for a family of 4 or 5 to go to a baseball game and enjoy it. St. Louis has always been a city where you can take your family to the ball game and you can have a good time and enjoy it and not regret it Monday morning when you go to work and go, well, shoot, I just spent $1,000 at a baseball game for me, my wife, and my 3 kids just to go sit for 3 hours and watch ball. If these teams that are escalating their payrolls, they have to make that money somewhere, and that's going to come in cost of tickets. That's going to come in cost of apparel. It's going to come in parking and beer and food and soda at the ballpark, and you're making the experience of the game more expensive. So I think I'm trying to give the Cardinals ownership benefit of the doubt that they're trying to keep the fans in mind to some extent, because let's be honest, Cardinals fans are much like Boston fans is. Even if we know the team's going to be bad, we're still going to show up at the ballpark. We're still going to go buy jerseys, and we're still going to buy hats and spend money and do all the crap. So I think they're trying to stay competitive because, let's be honest, that 06 run and that 11 run, the team wasn't very good. They got hot at the right time, and they won 2 World Series doing it that way. And they've kind of bought into that mentality. And it's unfortunate for us that we would love for them to go get one of the big shortstops that were available or go get one of the big arms that were available. Go beef up the bullpen. I mean, we have the corners. We have the best set of, arguably, the best third and first base combo in the league right now, even with Goldschmidt getting a little bit older. We picked up the best free agent catcher available on the market, although I would have rather had Sean Murphy, especially after the deal he signed once he got to the Braves. it's that. So this is my defense of the Cardinals right now, and as much as you guys know how angry I get when they don't go spend a little bit of money here and there because they have it. They could have a payroll of $200 million and it wouldn't hurt them, but they like to keep it under that $190 million mark. And I think a little bit it has to go with the area that they're in, the fans they have, the experience, because baseball is a part of St. Louis history. If you're from St. Louis, you know you're from a baseball town. You grow up rooting for the Cardinals. You grow up hearing about Ozzie Smith and Bob Gibson and Lou Brock and Albert Pujols and Mark McGwire. I mean, this is what we grow up with coming from out of St. Louis. We grow up with Cardinal baseball. So I think they're trying to make sure the game is still affordable, doable, and enjoyable for all of those Cardinals fans in the greater St. Louis area. That's my defense of the ownership and why they do things the way they do.
And you guys have a history of knack, like for 30 years of just plucking players from teams like about whether 27, 28, like Arenado, all the way back to Scott Rowland. Just all you guys just pluck guys away. Mark,
how about Lou Brock?
Yeah, all the way there. Yeah, I wasn't alive there to see that trade, but yeah, there's other.
I wasn't either.
But there's other ones like that. You guys,
even I wasn't.
Yeah, you guys pick guys off. You've been doing it for years, man. That's where I give them props for it. You're right. They haven't won any World Series. Where it would piss me off if I was a Cardinals fan, same reason I always kind of mess up. I got to mess Giants fans up a little bit around here. Is they don't spend big either, and they've sold out the ballpark for you guys. I think that is where I'd be ticked. I'd be like, come on, go the extra mile. We're here. We're gonna sell out the ballpark. That's where I'd be a little pissed if I was a Cardinals fan.
Well, it seems like for the past couple of years, we are fine with first round and then exit. And then that's a successful season. Like we make the playoffs and then we lose. These last 3-4 years, we've done that. The last time we went further than that was when we went to National League Championship and got embarrassed by the Nationals, who ended up winning the World Series. They beat our ass. Wow. But that
lineup they had was stupid, ridiculous.
But the thing is, they were dead last in their division. That's a different subject. But ever since then, they've just been content with making the wild card, winning the division, and then leaving in the first round. It just seems like that they don't care about the improvement. Yes, right at the beginning of the winter meetings, our front office said, hey, we need a catcher. And they got one. They got the best offensive catcher in baseball. Okay. We need other things. Mason Wynn is not ready to be a shortstop yet. He's only 2 seasons in. Jordan Walker is going to be fired. But then also we have to have a bullpen and then our starting rotation that has had 0 improvement. And I just know for a fact that we're just going to probably get our hopes up when it comes down to September. And then we're going to be, hey, we made the playoffs. Oh, we just lost to the Dodgers.
Screw you, man.
We're not going to lose to the Dodgers. We're going to beat the Mets in the first round and then get bounced by the Phillies again.
The thing with the Mets, they're probably going to barely make the playoffs. That's my hot take.
Make me so happy.
That's my hot take. They're barely going to make the playoffs.
You know what? I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Yes.
But I like the fact that they are like, fuck this. We're gonna go and get whoever we want. Like, I like that. But yeah, it may not pan out at all, which would be fucking phenomenal, to be honest. But I like that they're going balls out. Like, yeah, we'll go get Verlander. Sure, we'll lock up Scherzer for 2. Sure, we'll go get whoever. Yeah, we'll give Correa. We'll give whoever. The guys are out there. They got the money. Go get them. The luxury tax be damned, And, if it turns out that they end up not making the playoffs, I will laugh. But at the same time, I admire the going for it aspect as well. But I will laugh hysterically if they don't make the playoffs.
Oh, no. The Mets are going to repeat what they did last season. 100%. 100%.
To the bottom with that.
They're going to be the hottest team going into the All-Star break with 14 or 20 losses.
Yeah.
And then they're going to collapse. and then they're gonna not win their division. They're gonna lose in the first round like they did this year. It's gonna be beautiful to see.
It's never a bad thing when they crash and burn. You know? I'm
Never.
Scott. I'm
Always good to see
Scott
the
since
Mets lose.
'86. So fuck them.
It's just like Boston, you know. Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I was
Don't
only
get him started.
13. I kind of don't remember. Bullshit. Fuck 'em.
I can't stand you guys in the World Series. You guys beat us every single time, and we went gentlemen sweeps. That's the worst part about
Not
it.
even close. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys let us win one at home the last 2 times we played you guys in the World Series, and then beat our
Yeah,
ass the rest of the time.
The teams that the Sox rolled out were wagons when they won those. So I mean they were really
The Rockies.
They were tanks.
Yeah, the
Just
Rockies.
ridiculous. You know, I mean, but you know,
So
Trust me.
let's talk about some
I
other
love
signings that have happened.
Carlos
Eric
Correa.
Hosmer. Did you finish it? Is that one done? Is it done?
No.
yet?
I'm just
Last I heard it wasn't
I'm just
over.
blowing smoke.
oh yeah, Hosmer
Okay.
Hosmer to the Cubs, right?
Yeah,
Nah,
Hosmer
who-
1
who-
year, 720,000.
Who cares?
Yeah, sure.
Good for him. He's still getting paid by the Padres. And
I wouldn't
Boston could
have
have for
minded him
free.
staying here.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, he's
I
getting
was
the
kinda shocked
13
they
million
didn't
from the
keep him free.
Padres.
So he landed. Smith landed in Washington on a 2-year contract. I'm trying to think off the top of my head right now who else signed in the last few days, and who else that's a big name is available still. I still think Jose Iglesias is a big deal.
He could end up
what's
in
left.
Boston.
He could end up in Boston. I wish he'd end up in St. Louis.
Yeah.
isn't that Nolan's cousin?
Who, Arenado?
Cousins.
Oh, I don't know.
He played on the Rockies, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, they're cousins.
he
Yeah,
was Rocky.
that's their cousin. Yeah.
Well, then Arenado needs to make a phone call and go, "Hey, buddy, come on over
Yeah.
here. I'd love to be working double play with you."
I thought that D-back.
Here's the update. Hosmer's getting 3 years, $39 million from the Padres. I love how Logan keeps chiming in and keeping us updated. Wade Miley to the Brew Crew. Thank you, Jamarcus. I knew that was one I missed. Any of these signings stand out to you guys as impact makers or big signings, or are we just dumpster diving at this point and guys are getting picked up to fill rosters?
I think right now, I think you're seeing a lot of the roster filling spots. I was surprised that the Sox DFA'd Hosmer because it made sense to keep him here. You know, the Padres are paying for him. So, I mean, you know, why just get rid of him but keep fucking Bobby Dahlbeck here for some reason? So I'm kind of surprised that they didn't hold on to him. He was a short-lived stint here. He got hurt pretty quick after he got here. I always liked him as a player. Solid defensive guy, you know, good team guy, that type of thing. But I think he would have made sense as a veteran backup if they plan on playing Casas full time or most of the time anyway. But they moved on from him, so it doesn't surprise me that Theo scooped him up. You know, if there's one GM I love in this world, it's Theo Epstein.
Yeah.
I thought.
Sorry, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
I thought what Logan kind of said though that Jays trade with the Diamondbacks, that one kind of I always felt kind of got a little overhyped at the beginning. I didn't really, that one kind of didn't make sense. I feel like maybe I'm missing something with like the Blue Jays catcher prospect or something.
Oh, the Vasho.
Yeah, I just like maybe either he got overhyped, like just kind of a weird deal. Rich Hill to the Pirates, whatever. And then what you guys signed the Red Sox signed a pitcher today, right? You guys signed or the other day. Kluber a few days back. So you guys got him.
They signed Kluber, which I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
At the same time, the day after of all these signed with Texas.
Yeah.
So a lot of these moves that they've made recently, it's all reactionary. They should have just signed a Baldy, to be honest. But you know,
Absolutely.
they decided 17 was too much, and we can give Kluber 10. Whatever. I don't know.
And then the Giants, they got the Rogers brothers back together. They got them back together, and then they signed what was the guy from the Mets, the lefty that was hurt all last year, Conforto, right? He was signed.
Well, he hasn't played in like a year.
Yeah, so he's in there too. So those were the other signings this week. I thought were kind of
Hey,
interesting. a little bit.
Conforto's a guy I would have taken a flyer on.
Yeah, might as well. They signed him to a 3-year deal, I believe, something like that. So
Yeah,
That's
He
probably-
got a 3-year.
A flyer is one thing to because he plays right field, right?
yes.
So to bring on a guy, I mean, because that he was mentioned with the Red Sox too, just like every other fucking player in baseball was mentioned with the Red Sox, where they didn't get. But Conforto was mentioned a few times because he would have filled a hole that they need. But I think that a guy that had been out of the league, didn't play at all last year, and for someone to give him 3 to play an outfield corner position seems like a lot.
It was
But-
2. I just looked it up.
Oh,
2
2 years or whatever. How much?
2
a
years,
year on that?
36 million.
36 for 2 years.
Like 18 mil for him. He hasn't
Damn.
played. Like that just seems. That's not a flyer.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
A flyer.
You know, that seems a bit. That seems a bit steep.
it was a
I do got one thing though. A team that really I feel like might be worth something this year is the Texas Rangers. That rotation that they got is deadly.
Yeah, they're another team that keeps getting people. It sucks every year anyway.
Do you think Martin Perez can keep that up? That's
Absolutely,
No.
absolutely. He was my $5 win in fantasy baseball. He's going to be fired this year.
And then Gray, I always question though, Jordan, him getting hurt. Like I like his stuff. Like he pitched a game. I know the A's aren't on it, but he pitched a game last year where he was filthy, and I was so pissed at the manager for taking him out of the Rangers. It was an idiotic move, and they almost lost the game. That guy, when he's on, he's nasty. But
Yeah,
he's only 32.
he was up here for a couple years, and he can look really, really good.
Oh
sometimes.
yeah, he can look. When he
but-
has that 2-seamer going, my God, he's.
But
good.
man, when he doesn't look good,
It's
That
bad.
too, yeah, he just
it's
he
not
hits-
pretty.
Well,
There's,
they also got
there's not really a middle of the
He
road with
pitched
him.
for you
like-
guys. I didn't
What's
know he
that?
played for the Reds. I didn't know he played for the
Oh,
Red
yeah.
Sox. So he got drafted by the Rockies, then went to you guys, then went to the Rangers. Is that how
I
it
don't
went?
know where. I don't know when he got drafted. He was
Yeah,
here.
he came
They
out of
signed him as a
Oklahoma.
free agent. They signed him as a free agent in like 19, I think. But he came on with like a career 5 ERA and stuff. He was
I didn't know
solid,
he played for the Red Sox.
solid veteran player. But yeah, they had Perez Day up here when he pitched. Like people, he was like a cult hero,
well,
which
Well-
I never bought in. But he can look really good. He really can. But man,
oh, he was a stud.
he can look really bad though.
It's hard
So-
to trust the Rangers, though. It's hard to
Yeah,
trust them.
but I mean, I guess you throw him at 5. I mean, you're behind DeGrom now and whoever the hell else they got down there. at
You
this
have
point.
DeGrom, you have Perez, you got John Gray, Nathan Evaldi, Andrew
Evaldi.
Heaney, and then Jake Odorizzi.
And then they do
Well,
have
that's
those
not
two
bad.
high prospects coming. So,
That's not
Exactly.
So-
Like
yeah, that's a good call.
I was just gonna say because we were talking Rangers, just the Evaldi contract is 2 years, 34 million.
Yeah,
2 years, 34.
I
Just
thought that was a
I
steal.
would've
The
rather
Red Sox
Evaldi-
could have got him.
I would have rather 2 for 34 for Evaldi than 1 at 10 for Kluber.
There you go. Me too.
That's all. That's just me. But I don't mind Kluber. Whatever. Like fine.
Yeah.
Take all the pitch and help you can get at this point. If you don't,
Can I mention one last one? I didn't mind either. I thought the Mets when they traded McCann to the Orioles, I kind of like that pickup a little bit for the Orioles
Yeah.
too. I think that's like one of those like under the radar kind of pickups. Like when it's September, you're like, oh, that was a good pickup for the Orioles. And yeah, I think that's kind of one to keep an eye on too.
Yeah, it's funny too because he was mentioned, and I'm shocked because for some reason the Red Sox have a like an insatiable desire to bring more catches into the organization. So every time there's a move made or a trade made, there's always a catcher, and I'm like, enough with the catches, you know? Like they got Wong in the that thing. It's like every move is a catcher. So it was like, how many?
Never have
They
enough
love
catches.
catchers.
Never
There's
have
like
enough.
46 catches in the organization. It's like, what is up?
They're all
with the catcher?
coaches. They all turn out to be coaches. You got to hit one of them. Will hit. One of them
Seriously,
will
I
hit.
mean, I'm talking about casting a wide net. Jesus Christ. Like, none of them seem to stick. So this McGuire kid they got, another catcher along with Wong, got another catcher in a trade. They get catches. I'm telling you guys, every time the Sox make a move or make a trade, I guarantee you, keep an eye on it. 9 out of 10, there's a fucking catcher attached every time. It's like,
I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I know from now on.
dude,
I'm
they
gonna
are
keep an eye on it.
they're fascinated. They're
They're
fascinated with catches. I don't know what it is.
Uh,
I just
So,
want one to stand out.
here's something else to keep you guys' eye on during the regular season. Another message in from our good friend Logan. Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker are the top prospects and are expected to come up this season. So Heaney and Odorizzi might be trade bait at the deadline. Just something to keep your eyes open for.
I mean,
can I point out this comment real quick? Who is Kluba? Wasn't that he Mario's brother?
Yeah, absolutely.
I knew there was bound. I knew there was bound to be one comment in there.
Well,
Yeah, I was
I,
letting it go.
I would like to jump on this question though. From the comments, top picks for surprise contenders. Who will be better than the people that give them credit for?
I'll
Like
say
who?
the
That's a good
Orioles.
question. Yeah, Orioles.
Yeah.
Don't you think people are starting to hop on them a little bit though? Is like the kind of the
Well,
sexy.
you know.
Does that count?
Well,
Or
they
that
do
just-
have.
I mean, I could say
the-
the A's.
Well, there you go. That'll be. I like that. That's positive. I need that. Yeah, Todd. Thank you. On a Wednesday night. Thank you.
That'll be a bit of a shocker, but maybe sure.
I would say
I
Orioles,
think
Rangers,
the Orioles,
White Sox.
Rangers. No, not the White Sox.
I like the White Sox.
I think they'll be. I'm not saying they'll be good. I'm saying they'll be better than people expect.
They're
No, I
mad
think
average.
They should contend with the Indians or whatever they call them nowadays. Guardians.
Yeah,
See, Logan
that's
agrees with
what
me.
I'm with you on that one, Josh. I agree with you. I think the White Sox too. I think they really underachieved. I think they have way more talent than they just played with last year. That year before, they showed life when they actually had any energy and soul in their baseball game a little bit. You know, that was there. And I just feel like they need to find that. Their pitchers were terrible last year. They were way better the year before. Like Giolito had a massive drop off than he had the year before, and Lynn wasn't as good as he was the year before as well. So I think the White Sox would be a team I would take as well.
White
How about
Sox
the
are playing with
D-backs?
injuries and have no depth.
I don't know.
I was
D-backs to
getting
me
to the
still feel
D-backs.
too
Hold
young.
on. I think the D-backs are going to be good this year, but let me go back to
Oh,
the
they're
White
gonna
Sox for a
be
second.
they're gonna be really good this year.
I think the White Sox are going to be better than anticipated because of the injuries last year and the lack of depth they have. If they can stay healthy and they brought Andrew Benintendi in, who's going to be a solid bat and give a little protection in the lineup, that's really going to help the White Sox. And none of us has talked about Benintendi yet, but he got a great deal. Good for him. Good for the team. 5 years, $75 million. Nothing wrong there. The sticky stuff ban hurt Giolito. Probably hurt most pitchers, to be honest, Adam. But no, the D-backs are going to be good. They're sneaky good. They're getting better and better every year. They got a lot of young talent. I don't think they're going to win their division. I don't think they're going to be in the playoffs, but I think they're going to surprise some people this year. They're going to come out of nowhere and they're going to win some games that people would not expect them to win. They're going to win some series that people don't expect them to win. That's my vision.
They're going to be
prediction
leading
for
the.
Arizona.
They're going to be leading the Central till July and finish third.
Well, they don't play in the Central, so
Yeah, they do.
Arizona.
Wait, are you talking about the White Sox?
No,
No,
it's
sorry,
Arizona.
You just jumped. My
I
fault.
jumped.
My mistake.
Yeah, I'm
my
sorry, I
mistake.
I jumped.
No,
in.
no, Arizona. Yes, I do agree with Arizona. My fault.
Yeah, I think
Hey, the
Arizona.
Sox.
Are they too early though, Josh, with Arizona? That's my concern with them. Like, like how there's the trajectory with them. I just feel like maybe there's.
I think
go ahead.
I think you're right. I
Yeah.
think you're right. I'm not saying that they're going to be world beaters. I just think they're going to disrupt the
They
normal.
won't just lay
standing
over
of
and play
things.
dead. I got you.
Yes, exactly. They're
Yeah.
going to put up fights. They're going to take the Dodgers out on a series here and there. They're going to take the Padres out. They might give the Braves a run for their money in one of their series. It could just be something. Logan here is bringing in a good thing, a good comment. The Cubs are a real threat for the Central with all the upgrading, while the Brewers and the Cardinals didn't really do much. Very true fact. The Cubs could be a team that gets in the way this year, which could be unfortunate for the Cardinals and force the Cardinals to spend money in the offseason next year.
Well, I will say this as a not trying to be unbiased. Their bullpen was the only thing that was neglected, though. They don't have a bullpen really. The Cubs don't. They focus heavy on, huh?
I should say if they have enough offense, they may not need a bullpen.
How reliable could that be? I don't know. That's just I feel
Okay, so my
there's
prediction about the
there's some
Phillies last
question
year-
marks for him.
My prediction about the Phillies last year was if they were going to win, they were going to have to score 7, 8, 9, 10 runs a game because they didn't have any defense and they didn't have enough pitching. I was severely wrong and severely accurate at the same time. They were loaded with bats. They put up tons of runs and they won games mostly by offense. They won some games with the pitching they had. The problem was they ran out of pitching in the playoffs. But they had the offense to play ball. And the bats went a little cold in the World Series.
Yeah.
That's my point.
I like this guy as a surprise contender too. Thanks, bro. That's good.
Yeah.
So the Tampa Bay Rays.
they got a better chance than anybody. I know that. What do you? Yeah, that's a good point there. That makes sense. The Rangers are an interesting. You know what I mean? We mentioned a few teams. Yeah, there's a few out there that kind of.
Yeah. I
Come
mean,
on.
there's a like
There's
I
always
said,
one.
like I said about with the Mets and the Rangers, they're similar. You know, it's like they're spending, man, and you know you hope for them that this money works and it puts a winning team on the field. But history, unfortunately, for both teams has proven that there's something else that's missing. That it doesn't matter the roster that you assemble with the money that you spend; they're not winning. You know, and when you look and see at the end of the year what that roster looks like and what their record is, it's like, how did they suck? Like, what happened? Like, what did they miss? Like, what is missing on these teams? They're shelling out the cash to get guys that can play. Is it that there's just they can't play well together? Is it they're paying the wrong guys? Is it something? But it's something every time. Like they're at the top of the market every year. They're going to get these guys. You said what the rotation looks like. That looks fucking ridiculous. But let's see what it looks like at the end of the year. Did they all perform? You know, and did they all perform at the same time? Or did one guy light it up for 2 weeks and the rest sucked? And then all of a sudden one other guy steps up or two guys step up and the rest sucked. And then the guys that sucked for the half a year, then they step up in the second half and then the other half shits the bed. It doesn't make any sense. It's like you shell out that kind of money, you would like some kind of winning as the return. And the Mets and the Rangers simply they don't get the winning.
They got nothing out of it.
They don't get anything out of it. They just, I mean, the names and the some
All
of the
makes me
players
want to
even-
play baseball right now. I want baseball to start right now. That's what I
Oh
want
my
baseball.
God. It's like, listen, I mean, I'd love to see I'd love to see competitive baseball, and I love to see when they put together these rosters of some fantastic players, all-star at 6-7 positions, and they still can't even win the division.
Yeah.
So, like, what part's missing? Like, why can't those teams get over that hump? If they're spending like other teams,
It's always been starting pitching, Tom. I mean, they've always had just crappy.
but I
pitching.
mean the rotation they got assembled for this year, in
Well, we'll
theory,
see. This is the year.
they should fucking light shit up. So we'll have to wait and see. But if they don't, everyone's gonna go, well, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
They
I
did
think
it
that's
again.
Hey, Boston Tom.
You know?
Boston
Yes.
Tom. I know you came on short notice for me tonight. I didn't know if you were on a time restriction because I have two last questions I want to get your opinion on.
Sure.
Okay. So, and Darren and Jordan, I want to get your takes too on this, but if Boston Tom's on time restriction, I want to make sure I get his answers. One, how do you feel about the schedule where everybody plays everybody? And two, are there any of the new rules you like, don't like, or are you neutral on them?
The schedule thing, I like it better than the weighted one where you played only a division, 19 fucking times a piece or something like that. So that seems like an improvement if that's the case. The shift thing is interesting because I've watched for so long really good hitters just get robbed out of hits because of the shift. So that's going to be interesting to see some of these guys that were played to the shift so often. I think Ortiz might have a stroke because he'll be like, I would have had 3,000 fucking hits if there wasn't a shift. But so those are the two things. Some of the upcoming ones they're talking about is kind of odd to me with the bigger bases and stuff. I don't really understand that. The pitch clock or pitch timer, as Manfred calls it, whatever. Use the whatever word you want. It's a fucking clock. But I think that something needs to be done to speed up the game because it's just sometimes like these guys are like.
I agree completely, dude. Have you
Some
ever
of these
go back and watch an old game? They're way freaking faster.
they're flying. They're flying. Games are done in 2 hours and 10 minutes. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like
that's because
you know
you
when
had
they
pitchers who
speed,
struck
you know when they
guys out.
speed up. They speed up like the Babe Ruth videos.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like they didn't speed it up. That's just how they played. But nowadays, like some of these guys are like a fucking rain delay on their own. It's just like get the ball and chuck it, David Price. You know, like those type of people that are ball to the chest,
It's
gasp,
ridiculous.
look in, turn down every pitch. Like, dude.
Nomar Garciaparra.
I mean, he was every fucking time, you know, the routine he did every time. It's like, get in the box, swing, get the ball back and chuck it. So I'm interested to see how some of these players react to that, you know, because I don't think that there's not going to be many that are going to keep it underneath that number. I just don't see it happening, but I'd like to see the game sped up. So if that helps, fine. The shift, I'm very curious to see how that plays. And the schedule, to me, you know, there's no need to play each team in your division 19, 20 times a piece. So I welcome and unlike a lot of people, you know, especially older as I'm considered now, even though I'm not 50, but I like the interleague play because I like to see other teams that I never got to see. When I was a kid, they didn't do that. You know, so when I wanted to see Tony Gwynn play, I'd have to wait for This Week in Baseball to see the stats, you know, and the highlights of the week. So to be able to go against and even go to games where they're playing against National League teams, I love that. I wish they would do more. I know that's not a popular opinion with a lot of the purists and stuff, but I don't need to see 19 games against the fucking Devil Rays, and I don't need to see 19 games against the Baltimore Orioles. So
Well,
if you
last
want,
season they were beating you, so you really don't want to do that.
if you want to take half those games and split them up amongst the other teams in baseball, then I'm all for that. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. The heavily weighted division schedule was pretty rough for teams like Baltimore, especially, you know, and even Toronto for a long time. So I think it gives everyone more of a shot to be more of an even playing field instead of playing the AL East fucking 20 times each when it's the toughest division in baseball. So it may not matter for the Sox, to be honest. So we'll see.
Tom, I gotta say something. I laugh at that because I have MLB the radio thing. I don't have the TV app, but I buy the radio one every year, so I get to listen to a lot of these different guys throughout. And there was this whoever does the color for the Orioles last year was April. I just remember this so clearly. I think it's a lady late night, and she goes, "Yeah, we got to change this division thing. The Orioles get stuck playing the Yankees and Red Sox way too much." And now you're the Red Sox fan. I just love it. Everybody.
It's just, I mean, I never really liked that many games against a division opponent. Anyway, even when the Sox were rolling, it's just like enough. Do you know how many fucking games I went to when it was a Devil Rays? Like, I don't want to see Tampa again.
They're calling you out, man. It's the Rays.
I don't want to see them again. Like, enough already. It's like when I used to go and it was Wakefield pitching almost every time. I'm like, love you, mean it, Tim Wakefield. How many fucking times do I have to go where you're starting? You know, so it was kind of like, you know, and people like, hey, I'm getting rid of my tickets. Let me guess, the Orioles or the Rays. You know, so it's like I welcome other teams to be able to go to Fenway and see other teams. I want to go see the Brewers more. I want to go see I got to see the Padres play with Bogarts at short. So I will, you know, I mean, I'll watch every game anyway, but I'll piss and moan about certain ones for sure.
So I think the bases being a little bigger, I think that is to try to generate more stealing and look more like baseball in the 80s, make it more fun.
I love it.
Do we see 60 stolen bases out of someone this year with the changes? I think we could this year. With the amount of speed that's out there, with the athleticism of these ball players nowadays, this really makes the catchers relevant again, and it makes it more of a it's more of a chess match. It's going to be more of a chess match is what I'm hoping for. And we're going to see more, manufacturing of runs, I hope, because the tags for stealing second are so close already. We're going to see if that 2-inch total is going to make it that big of a difference. So that's what I think the bigger bases are going to be about. I know some people claim it's for safety or some other crap, but it's to, like I just got texted, safety for players too.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it's just going to help with competition. It's going to make it more fun. It's going to tempt that third base coach to go ahead and give that guy at first that sign and say, "Come on, bring it to second. Let's go, boy. Get in the scoring position." So that's what I think the bigger bases is really about.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. I mean, fine. I mean, I'd love to see guys get gunned down, which that art is lost. I think a lot of catchers don't have the arms they used to have. A lot of guys don't try to even attempt to steal on some. So
They do against
guys are gonna
old bets like Yachty, they get thrown out.
Yeah, if guys are gonna take off, but there's like a catcher with a legit arm, I would love it. And then like Ivan Rodriguez used to be, it'd be like he picked off like 50-something%. I'm like, that's fucking great. So
it's the greatest play in baseball.
Oh yeah. Well, how about this rule though? How about this rule? That to me is going to be affecting it. This throw over thing, like that's going to be the weirdest thing. If you've already thrown over twice and you're a base runner and they know they can't throw over, the pitch out's the only thing you have to worry about at that point. So to me, that's kind of a weird little wrinkle into the league where it's not natural. Like to me, that's the one thing that rule is not completely natural. Like the shift, I could go back and forth with on that one, but like to me, that's the one where it's like you can't throw over again. That changes everything a little bit. That's not baseball anymore at that point that we're used to. So to me, that's the most fascinating rule of all of them.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I didn't even think of that one. That'll be interesting to see too. I mean, back when I was younger watching baseball, when it was the Vince Colemans and Ricky Hendersons and shit, it didn't matter. You could throw over there a million times. You're stealing anyway. Like, why waste your time?
Hey, can I ask you guys a question? Who do you think had the most stolen bases last year and how much?
I honestly wouldn't even begin to guess.
I think somebody had 40.
Total.
Was it Birdie?
Yep, Birdie. How much did he get?
Total bases, total
steals.
Yep,
30 maybe.
No,
it was Birdie with 46.
I mean, that seems even
41. So somebody gets 60 with a half an inch bigger base. I don't know. To me, it's all about the managers, right? That's all it is. Like managers back in the day were like, we're freaking going. Like that was their style. Now it's like, well, we got that to me, it's all about the manager. That's why I used to did like the Royals in those about 8 years ago. Even they screwed over Jonathan Lester in that wild card game. You know what I mean? Like they just that to me, that does scare more crap out of a pitcher than people give credit for. If you are in the playoffs and you have a runner on base that can steal a base, I mean, Tom, you got the second on Rivera. That changes a lot of shit, man. That's a big deal.
Everyone gives Dave Roberts all the credit for stealing that. You give Kevin Millar to take that walk. Because everything else wouldn't happen if Millar didn't take that walk.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Listen,
but the stolen base is part of it, and that's what I miss about the league.
It was bang bang, and it was like I've watched 4 Days in October like 47 fucking times, and every time I'm watching, I'm like, did he make it? Did he though? Oh, he fucking did. Yeah, he did. 100%. That's a lost art. Stolen bases is a lost art. So,
Darren, any rules or anything you think are major players that you haven't mentioned yet?
Nah, that pitch off, the pick off one to me is the main one that's just getting to me be kind of just a weird deal. Like the most unnatural one. I like the shift idea. To me, that was getting ridiculous, just too much.
Same.
If the hitters weren't adjusting. I mean, what the hell? Like I don't know. Like I don't know what to say. The pitching just got so good. Like you got to give the offense something. I mean, these other sports that are getting more popular, it's more offensive gain. They got to speed up the game. So I think the pitch thing is also a good thing. It's just weird. Like baseball's not a timed sport. So I really still don't buy that this 30-second thing is going to be upheld. There's so many damn rules in the game of baseball that are literally there in the rule book that the umpire could say, all right, go use this one. They never use it. I don't know what the hell. They could have always said speed up the game and gave him a ball. So, I mean, what the hell? Like, unless the MLB says, umpire, you're fined freaking $2,000, call a ball on him for it, I don't see it changing. That's how I really feel about it. I don't see that time pitching thing changing. 28, 27.
Jordan, what are your takes?
What was that?
What you got any of these rules that you like, don't like? anything like
I
that?
don't like the shift being banned personally.
So
Main
that's
reason
what I'm
why
talking about.
main reason why is because these baseball players are paid millions of dollars to play baseball, and they can't learn to adjust. That's my thing. Start beating the shift with a bunt. Make them go
Yes.
back. Make them go back to regular formation. And if they keep doing it, bunt. Get singles. Piss them off. It bothers me personally. And then when it comes down to the other rules, bigger bases, I'm cool with it. I don't really care. Pitch clock, don't care. I'm cool with it. But yeah, the big rule that really I got annoyed with was the shift.
Yeah. Because
So
now it's like the pitchers, like the hitters, like it kind of takes the art of hitting away. Like it really does.
Yes.
The natural part of it. I agree. Yay, Joey Gallo can hit into the. There is that part of it.
Joey Gallo is garbage.
But you get my
even
point.
without
Like,
that
that's the whole
shit.
reason is those guys that are built to do that. You can't have
He's
a
a
guy
strikeout king.
Yeah, so I hear you. I think it does take away a little bit from it for sure. I think that's a big. That definitely takes away from the natural part of the game for sure.
So that's the one thing about the shift that I'll agree with you on. Other than that, I don't know if it's that players are refusing to adapt or if just the pitching has gotten so good that they just can't get around it because the batting ability hasn't caught up to the pitching ability at this point. I'm not sure. But for where the game's at right now, the shift is hurting the game and it makes it less fun. So at this point, I'm okay with the shift rule getting changed. We'll see how I feel about it in the regular season. I mean, they can still move. They just got to wait for the pitcher to motion, I believe, towards the mound, and then they can move into a shift. But it's before the pitcher starts the pitch. They have to be outside of that designated area. So we'll see how that goes. I love the bigger bases personally. We'll see how I feel about the pitch clock. If it's as effective as it was in the minor leagues where it's shaving 28 minutes a game, cool, whatever. We'll see how it works out. I can't wait for the first pitcher to throw the third pickoff move, and then the batter gets second anyway, or the runner gets second anyways, because that's the penalty. So it's going to be funny the first time it happens, and it'll probably be funny the second, third, and fourth time it happens too. But I mean, these rules changes don't have. I don't have a big negative on what's going to happen. I agree with Darren on the unnaturalness of limiting the pickoff moves. There's one more rule change that could be perhaps be coming in 2024, but we're going to save that for another day because that's one I am very passionate about. Darren probably knows what I'm talking about. I definitely want to have Boston Tom on for that conversation because I'm sure he'll have an opinion that I don't know where he'll be. But we'll talk about that when you come on later for another episode because it's a heated one for me. But Boston Tom, do you want to say what?
I said I love the heated ones.
Oh, I love them with you, man. Just because I love listening to you, Grant. Your accent gets me, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. But Boston Tom, do you want to plug your podcast or what you're doing now or what you got going on?
Yeah, I've been off it a little bit. I've hopped on with a couple people here and there. I haven't done my own too much. But when I do, I do them with Adam, as you know. It's Corner Booth 617. It's all Boston sports stuff, obviously, because that's really all I fucking pay attention to. But at Tom and Quincy on Twitter. I always enjoy getting invites for talk to you guys. Talking to new people every time is great. Jordan, good to meet you finally. I've talked to Darren before. Whenever you guys are looking to have a conversation and you want any input from me, I'm more than willing to hop on and talk to you guys for a bit. I'm always up for that.
Hey, you have an open invite on our shows at any given time, buddy.
Love it.
Darren, you want to plug Fat Boy?
Yeah, check us out, Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports Podcast. Look forward to maybe getting Tom or Jordan on here one of these times when we start to get closer to baseball season. We talk a lot of California sports. So obviously, we'll touch on the NBA quite a bit with the Warriors. We'll also touch on a little bit of the Raiders, Niners stuff constantly a little bit here around that with that. But, check us out Sunday mornings. We're going live now on Variety Sports Network. We're on 6:15 West Coast time. So for some of you East Coast people, it might not be that bad Sunday morning. So if you're up, check us out. That'd
I'm
be
up.
great. There you go, baby. Check us out. I appreciate it. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
Jordan, you want to plug anything, buddy?
The real question is when not the real question. When we get closer to baseball season, tune into the Cardinals Chronicles. Whenever you want to get all your Cardinal fix going. We have two wonderful hosts, me and Josh, and we have a third party, don't we, Josh?
Yes, we do. We have a third party. He's a new addition to VSN.
Awesome,
So we'll be joining us.
and and closer to baseball season, join us. We'd love to have you.
Sounds good.
To cap off what Jordan said, yes, come and join us on Cardinals Chronicles. We're going to have our first episode next Wednesday night. Pay attention. It'll be dropping sometime. We'll be live at either 8 or 8:30 next Wednesday night. It'll be Jordan and I for sure. Our third piece should be in as well. His name is Alex. He's a diehard Cardinals fan. He gives lots of statistical reports on Twitter. So he's going to be new to the team. We're going to have a good time with Cardinals Chronicles this year. Do very deep, in-depth dives into everything that's going on. So make sure you message in, comment, subscribe, like, share anytime you see us. I also want to give a big shout out to our newest sponsor that VSN just picked up. Went official today. It is betus.com.
Nice.
Yeah, it was huge. Came out in the middle of the day. I was at work and I was like, what just happened?
That's awesome.
So let me try to get here to the information so I say it correctly. I caught myself off guard. But yeah, it's BetUs. Go online, sign up with them, and you will receive, let me find it. My apologies for the unprofessionalness of this. Oh my God, where'd it go?
They just
Here it
happened
is.
today, man. Take it easy on yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Seriously.
Don't beat yourself up.
So they're actually our new main sponsor. And I don't even have the details. I didn't get them. So yes, go to BetUs. When they ask how you heard about BetUs, you put in Variety Sports Network. That lets them know that we sent you there and make your first bet. And I'm sure there's some kind of promo. There's a link for it. Let me give you that link real quick. It's https://bit.ly/betus-variety_sports. That's more the HTTPS thing. You know, everybody knows what that is. bit.ly/betus-variety_sports_. And that lets them know that we sent you in. So make sure you check out BetUs. And thanks for joining us on 7th Inning Stretch. Check Cardinals Chronicles out next week, Wednesday. We'll have another 7th Inning Stretch either next week or the week after. And come join us, talk about baseball. Thanks, everybody.
I'd like to add one more thing. Shout out to the greatest fantasy baseball group, the Extraordinary Gentlemen. They were big contributors into the chat.
Appreciate their
Gotta
comments
love them.
tonight.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
Yeah. Gotta give them love and respect.
Yeah.
Adam's a jackass, but love him to death.
That was awesome. That made the show better. So yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Shout out to them for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to them and for supporting us. I appreciate them.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
We're
Should we end it
great
there?
communication, guys.
All right.
See ya.
Absolutely. You guys have a great week. Thanks so much for coming on.
All right.
Guys,
Peace.
have a good night,
job.
man.
Have a good one. Thank you.